Network Television proudly presents the 1986 Goodwill Games from Moscow and from Madrid. Brought to you by Diet.
Hello and welcome to the beginning of our weekday coverage of the 1986 Goodwill Games. Well, Nick Charles, we've had a lot of competition so far, but we have a full plate once again today.
That's it. The weekend got the Goodwill Games, as you know, off to a bright beginning, Bob, and the beat goes on today. This is the fourth and final day of swimming, and it's the last chance to see the brilliant Soviet Vladimir Salnikov. He's 2 for 2 with a world record already and swims in the 400 later tonight. Salnikov is a star, but new stars have come out in swimming during these games. The United States did not send its best team here, but the B squad has failed to perform like a backup team. The young U.S. swimmers have been sensational, refused to buckle under pressure, and are gaining vital international experience while they pick up medals. But there's much more than swimming ahead tonight. The unbeaten U.S. women's basketball team's in action again. And later in the evening, we'll go to Spain for the men's world championships and a look at the spectacular Soviet center Arvydas Sabonis, who's being hotly pursued by LSU coach Dale Brown and who was drafted by the Portland Trailblazers last month. There's more, though. Track and field moves to its second day, and more world record holders will compete. So, there's plenty ahead to talk about and to show you. Bob?
Let's recap that spectacular opening weekend of the Goodwill Games. First of all, everything began with a spectacular opening ceremony. The lighting of the flame let the world know that the first Goodwill Games had begun. A ceremony, at least in my experience, unrivaled for its sense of pageantry and anticipation. The first medals came in swimming with a surprisingly strong showing by the U.S. swimmers. Angel Meyers' new American record in the 50-meter freestyle served notice that the more formidable Eastern Bloc swimmers would have to keep looking over their shoulder during competition. Of course, there was the peerless Vladimir Salnikov, the distance swimmer formerly kept in obscurity by Olympic boycotts, now smashing his own world record in the 800-meter and winning the 1500-meter going away. The marathons introduced us to the city of Moscow with its ancient towers and winding roads. For the women, it was a 37-year-old woman from the Soviet Union, Nadezhda Gumarova, winning in a time of 2:33:35. And for the men, Ethiopia's Belaine Dinsamo took the lead early and never looked back, renewing the tradition of Abibi Bakila, the barefoot runner who padded through the streets of Rome and Tokyo to win the 2 Olympic marathons. Sports less well known to Americans were also a source of excitement here in the city of Moscow. We saw competition in the show jumping and in the fencing phases of modern pentathlon, the 5-part event designed to test the world's most diverse athletes. For the U.S. women, Allison Reed was in 4th place, but on the men's side, the competition quickly came down to Soviet pentathletes, far ahead of all others. And the glamour events in track got underway. You're looking at the new mother, Evelyn Ashford, edged out East German Heike Drexler in a photo finish to capture the women's 100-meter dash. And Greg Foster, long the bridesmaid, but never the bride to Ronald Nehemiah's world record performance, made good in the men's 110-meter hurdles. Tom Petronov erased his disappointing 10th place finish at the '84 Olympics with a toss of the javelin as we got into the field events that not only won the gold but stands as the best toss by an American this year. And in women's basketball, the Soviets and Americans with perfect 2-0 records seemed on a showdown course that would prove to determine the gold medal. And there was competition in some of the most grueling events at Lenin Stadium, the decathlon, the heptathlon, competition that proved to be more than just a showdown, a confrontation between the Soviets and Americans, as the East Germans were doing very well in that event. Now we are ready to get started with our first day, our Monday coverage of the 1986 Goodwill Games, and we're going to begin with swimming. And let's go now to John Neighbor and Tracy Calkins.
Thank you, Bob. We are getting ready for the first event in this final evening's worth of swimming competition here at the Goodwill Games, and it's going to be a big one. The 100-meter freestyle. This is the shortest event on the Olympic program, although it's not the shortest event on International Swimming's program. 2 lengths of the pool, the world record held by Barbara Krause from East Germany. She set this at the 1980 Olympics. Here are the two American team captains, Charlie Soroki on the left, Tori Trees on the right. They are about to make a presentation to the captains of the Soviet swimming team, as well as the chief of their delegation here at the Moscow Games. So we'll be back with the start of the 100-meter freestyle right after this. As the athletes for the 100-meter freestyle get ready to take their position, all the goodwill and gifts that were exchanged before the program gets underway, well, that's behind us now. We're getting ready for 2 lengths of the pool freestyle. Alongside me, Tracy Calkins, 3-time gold medal winner at the Olympics. Barbara Krause set the world record, 54.79 in this pool in the Olympics in Moscow. Let's take a look at the field here. In the top 5 lanes of your screen, Stacy Cassidy from Evanston, Illinois. She'll be in the outside lane. Dagmar Hoff from East Germany in lane 1. Angel Meyers, USA. She's already won a couple of gold medals, trying for her 3rd. She'll be in lane 2. Elena Dendibarova from the Soviet Union. She's a student in Leningrad. She'll be in 3. Kathy Coffin, a senior swimmer on the American team. She'll be in lane 4. The bottom of the screen will be Paige Zamina, 18-year-old, 6 feet tall, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Ina Abramova from the Soviet Union in 6. Kirsten Kielgas from East Germany in 7. Irina Gapon from the Soviet Union will be in lane 8. She's 16 years old, a real quiet girl. And in lane 9 bottom will be Anna Rezer from the Soviet Union. So it looks to be a lot of Soviets, a lot of Americans, and a lot of speed ready to stand on the block.
Angel Meyers won the 50 freestyle here earlier, and she is probably the favorite in this event. She's got a lot of speed, but so does Kathy Coffin. We've got other swimmers in this race who specialize in the 200 freestyle, so they're going to be very strong for the second 50. So we're going to see some very fast starts and some people coming home real fast, too.
2 lengths of the pool, down and back. This is a glamour event, if there ever is such a one. We have a false start. Now, the rule states, Tracy, that everyone's got to come and hold it completely motionless before the official fires the gun, and the false start is charged to the field.
That's right, John, and the start is very important in the sprint events. And sometimes these swimmers are a little bit nervous, and they're not completely still, and there we see a roll. Someone just starts to go, and a few people just followed along.
No, that doesn't penalize the person at fault any more than anyone else. The field is charged to the field. Angel Meyers, she is in lane 2, which is going to be 3rd from the top of the screen. She is probably to be favored in this event because of her outstanding performance in the women's 50-meter freestyle first day of the competition.
That's right, and she has explosive speed. She's a very powerful sprinter. And they're just going to be collecting themselves.
Kathy Coffin, you see there.
Concentrating on reacting to that gunshot.
And a fair start across the field, lane 5. Paige Zamina perhaps a little slow into the water, but first to the surface, as we said, Angel Meyers of the USA.
And Kathy Coffin and Angel are going out quickly, as I stated earlier. And they're going to be racing one another. They know that they are the swimmer to beat. Establishing
her stroke now, appearing to take the lead. It looks like lane 4, Kathy Coffin, the senior swimmer on the American squad. An unofficial flip turn here of a 27.4. That's slower than world record pace, but it's the 2 Americans, Kathy Coffin and Paige Zamina, with Angel Meyers at the top of the screen, looking very strong for an Olympic sweep, medal sweep for the United States in this 100-meter freestyle.
And they're right even, all 3 of the Americans. Paige Zamina is a stronger second-half swimmer, and these 2 other girls were out in front, and it's going to be a race the last 10 yards.
It looks like it's Kathy Coffin, Angel Meyers. Angel Meyers possibly in first place. It's Angel Meyers here with a win for the United States of America. Lane 2, the 19-year-old from America's Georgia gets herself her 3rd Goodwill Games medallion. Congratulations.
And a sweep for the Americans. 1, 2, 3, all of them under 57 seconds, which is a very respectable time.
Unofficial times 56.48, 56.93, and .97. Second and third places went to Kathy Coffin and Paige Zamina. So certainly the United States has nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to a sprint program. These youngsters, of course, not qualifying to compete at the World Championships, and they're turning in times that would make any swimmer proud.
They sure have. The whole Goodwill Games team has done much better than expected.
Angel Meyers has certainly done well in this competition. Comes in as a young swimmer, virtually unknown in international swimming. Already wins herself her 3rd gold medal. And we're going to see her again later this evening
So many races are won in the last 5 yards, and here Angel Meyers is just stretching for the wall. She knows she's got to get into that wall quickly to outtouch the other 2 Americans.
So congratulations, Angel Meyers. You see the times and the places on the scoreboard. Angel Meyers wins her 3rd gold medal of 56.48. Kathy Coffin and Paige Zamina for the United States both bring back the silver and the bronze. Now let's go back to Bob Neal.
Well, the U.S. swimmers just continue to surprise, but I think after the 3rd medal for Angel Meyers, we'll have to say that continued victories may not be such a surprise in the swimming. We're going to continue with our coverage of the Goodwill Games, interviewing the winners, and continuing with more of our coverage. Volleyball coming up shortly, too. Stay with us on the Goodwill Games of 1986. Moving quickly now from venue to venue, let's go to Lennon Stadium track and field. Here's Charlie Neal.
Thank you very much, Bob. It's the women's 400-meter hurdles, and out in front right now is Sandra Farmer from Jamaica. She's on the far side. Second at the U.S. TAC meet with a personal record of 55.75 last year. 400-meter hurdle record held by Sabina Bush of East Germany. She's not competing. She has a foot problem. Still out in front is Sandra Farmer, being challenged by Ellen Fiedler now of East Germany. Fiedler overshadowed by Bush, 3rd at the World Championships back in 1983. Now Fiedler is still running out in front. Fiedler is taking the lead now as he goes over the last hurdle, and it's Fiedler out in front. Willie Galt is with me here, and Willie, how about the race?
It was a very good technical race by Fiedler. She ran very good all the way. Of course, she was in the inside lane. She was a very strong race. Of course, in this race, what you want to do is combine your speed with technique. Of course, there's no other better than Edwin Moses, who was mastered the event, but she ran a very good technical race there.
Ellen Fiedler from East Germany came in first. Helena Goncharova of the Soviet Union finished 2nd. Now, this is the first of 2 heats. We're calling it heats. Really, Willie, it is not heats as we look at this replay.
No, it's not. As you can see, as she's coming down, she's in lane 2. Her time unofficially is 54.81, which is a pretty good time. It's not bad. She's coming over. The thing you want to do is maintain your poise, maintain your speed, and just stay strong at the end, because after you run 400 meters, one time around the track, which is 400 meters, you don't have very much left at the end. So you really want to maintain that momentum and come in.
There's Ellen Fiedler, unofficial time, as you said, 54.81, the world record held by her countrymate from East Germany, Sabina Bush, at 53.56. Now, we mentioned that was the first heat. The reason is because there are like 9 or 10 participants,
right,
and they couldn't get them all in one heat. So here's what we're going to see in the 2nd heat. Elena Simons, Cristiana Matei of Romania. She's in lane number 1. It's Shawanda Williams in lane number 2. And she's from the United States. Marina Stepanova, lane number 3 from the Soviet Union. Lane number 4 from the United States, Judy Brown-King. And in lane number 5, Margarita Kurmova of the Soviet Union. Who do you like?
Well, in this race, I think I like lane 4 and lane 5, Judy Brown-King and Katra Molova from USSR. They both have run 53. Judy Brown-King has run 54. And the girl from the Soviet has run 53.58, which was a world record in 1984. So I like those 2. But the reason we have 2 heats, like you said earlier, is it's just so many competitors here. It's almost like an all-comers meet where so many competitors here. You only run one race, so you really don't have enough room to put everybody in the same heat.
Let's explain a little bit about the 400-meter hurdles. They're 437 yards, 1 foot 4 inches is the length of the race. That equals 400 meters. 10 hurdles, 30 inches high, 35 meters apart. Now, from the start to the first hurdle is 45 meters. From the final hurdle to the end, to the finish line, is 40 meters.
That's true, and as you look at the start of the hurdle, you can see some people in lane 1, which is further back, and some people way up in the top of the curve. Now, most of the people at home might think that the lady in the top of the curve that's where they want to be, but actually, everyone is spaced out evenly, and no one is in the lead or no one is behind at this point. You'll see who will be the winner once they come out of this top curve, but everyone is spaced accordingly, and that's why the hurdles are spaced accordingly.
Willie, before you went to the National Football League and became a star in the NFL, you used to run the hurdles. Let's talk about the form a little bit of the hurdles as we look at the international graphics that you see. This is what we call Cyrillic type writing that they use in the Soviet Union. But talk a little bit about the form of the hurdles.
Well, of course, I never ran this distance. This is the man's race, I call it. I never ran this. I ran, of course, the sprinting, the 110-meter high hurdles. What you look for here is technique and form. But in this race, you got to have much more strength and combined with technique and form. So you got to look for the strength here.
This is the second heat. First heat was won by Ellen Fiedler of the East Germany. Again, Mate, Williams, Stepanova, Brown, King, and Kromova. The Americans, Shawanda Williams in lane number 2. In lane number 4, Judy Brown King. Unofficial time of the first heat, 54.81, and that was for the young lady Ellen Fiedler from East Germany.
You know,
she had run a 55.20 last year.
Judy Brown King always runs good with the competition. Of course, she was a silver medalist in the 1984 Olympic Games with a 54.38. She seems to always rise to the occasion when the competition is there. So I look for her to do really, really good tonight.
And that was not a false start. As you look at the time to beat, a 54.81, that was the time of the first heat. What they will do is take the 3 best times, and they will be the top 3 winners between the 2 heats.
That's right. And the person in the first heat could actually win the gold medal if these ladies here don't beat that 54.81. So they really have to run and not try to win. They have to run against the time, so to speak, which is sometimes more difficult.
Mate, lane 1, Williams, lane 2, Stepanova, lane 3, Brown, King. In lane number 4, Kromova, lane number 5.
Everyone is out evenly.
And the first one over the hurdle is Mate from Romania. And Mate out in front, technically.
The Soviet is looking real good.
It certainly is, and that's the Marina Stepanova, 36 years old, won the Soviet championship last August, ranked number 7 in the world.
She's in front right now, and she's really running good.
And again, Stepanova, and the time to beat is 54.81. That was run by Ellen Fiedler of East Germany in the first heat. But right now, Marina Stepanova in lane number 3.
36 years old. It looks like she's going to pull it off.
She's 36 years of age. She's over the last hurdle. And coming down the stretch, Stepanova being challenged by Mate of Romania. And then Stepanova will finish first. Let's see what the time unofficial, 53.82, as you see on your screen.
That's a great time.
That is a great time. The world record, 53.56.
You know, Charlie, I really feel good for her because, first of all, she's 36 years old. It makes me feel good. It makes me think I can come back and run again. But for a 36, look, she has everything here. You can tell she has experience. She's coming off the curve. She knows she's in the lead. She doesn't want to press. She took her time there and made sure her steps were right over this hurdle. And now she just has to rely on her strength and her distance training to get her through to the end. She ran a great race. I'm really happy for her. You can see, look at the technique. She's really held the hurdle, but it doesn't make a difference at the last hurdle. You just want to get over it clean and sprint to the finish line and hold the rest of the field off, and which she did. Excellent time.
The unofficial record, 53.82 is unofficial, and we'll be back with the official time right after this. Let's go back to the studio right now and Nick Charles.
So Marina Stepanova of the Soviet Union wins the gold medal in the women's 400 hurdles, and we'll be back with more coverage of the Goodwill Games from Moscow after this. Back to Moscow. So the first track and field event is completed, and because of the large field, they ran the women's 400-meter intermediate hurdles in split divisions. And to sort it all out and declare the official winner, gold, silver, and bronze, let's go back to Charlie Neal.
Thank you very much, Nick Charles. We're back at Lennon Central Stadium. 54.80 was the official time of the first heat, and that was Ellen Fiedler of the East Germany. As far as the second heat, we did see Stepanova of the Soviet Union come in first. 53.82 was the unofficial time. We still do not have the official time yet, and as soon as we get that, we'll give it to you. But let's go to Leandra Riley right now for women's volleyball.
Thank you very much, Charlie Neal. And I'd have to say the story here, Charlie, has got to be a great setter from the USA, Michelle Boyette. Arlissa McClendon serving for the USA.
Keep your eye on number 4 out there on the American team, Paula Wythoff. She's going to be the difference between whether this team is going to be good or great.
nice block.
And that's Weissoff's great forte, is to be able to block that ball well. She's an all-around player. She's the one player coming off the silver medal winning team from the 1984 Olympics. All the rest are brand new. And Paula has just returned to the team after 2 seasons in playing ball in Italy. So let's see what she does for this team.
And that service was too long. Side out for the USA. This is the setter for the USA who's going to serve, Michelle Boyette, and she's been doing a great job in that role.
She's the brand new player on this team from UCLA. They've had Kirby as the setter up until now.
And that one got past the USA, and it is side out in favor of North Korea. 3-0 is our score.
Nobody home. This is the 3-person receiving that the USA is proud of.
Pak Young-Suk with the service.
Good pass. Great game.
Ooh, that one went out of bounds.
That was a nice play. Kim Young-Suk looking very strong out there. The Koreans are digging that ball well.
And in case you're just joining us, this is the second game of a match between the United States and North Korea. The USA took the first game 15-7. North Korea leads in the second game 4-0. For both teams, this is their first appearance in the Goodwill Games. This is their first game of a round-robin tournament. Pak Young-Suk waiting to serve, and the delay is they are wiping the floor with some sweat has landed on the competition area, so some of the players don't slip. Nice roundhouse service. Fake by Bond. Kemner puts it down, and no one can get there. USA will get a chance to serve.
Karen Kemner, a nice hit there, but the setter had 3 options. That pass was right up there where she could go to any of those 3 hitters, so it was a one-on-one blocking, and our hitters will do well in that.
This is Weissoff's serve, and I'm sorry that happened because throughout this whole match she has not missed, and that's just a phenomenal serve. That running spike serve takes a lot of strength to do that.
It's also very fatiguing. A jump serve is just like a spike, so you tend to get tired a lot faster.
Kemner again from the other side.
She's been the bread and butter hitter for this team all the way through these last 18 months, and she's been the bread and butter hitter of the first game. She had 5 putaways in the first game. Paula Weissoff had 4, so those 2 are carrying the team offensively.
You saw a new face enter the course for the United States. That's Deetra Collins, 2-time Broderick Award winner. She's from Hawaii. Now plays on the U.S. national team. That one off the block, and the United States, I believe, is on the scoreboard for the first time in this game. It is 1-4.
Carolyn Kirby putting that ball away nicely. She's been the setter, the finest setter on the team up until now. They're trying a new quarterback in there.
Kirby's a good hitter.
It's interesting. At 5'11", she's the best blocker on the team, at least until Paula returned to the team a couple weeks ago. She's also the team's best server, so she's really a valuable player.
And there, nobody was at their best.
Good pass, though.
Korea.
Good pass.
Here it was. And the United States will get a chance to serve again. As you look at Deetra Collins and Carolyn Kirby, now we're over on the Korean side.
Going for a tough serve that time. Marcia Bond.
Boyette setting. That's Kirby with the hit.
Off the block, down the line.
Once again, the United States will try to close the gap between themselves and North Korea as we look at the Cyrillic scoreboard. Yes, folks, that's what we are looking at and figuring out the score for you. Our Russian is improving rapidly as 1 serves 4.
Nice block up there. U.S. in control.
Kemner from behind the 10-foot spike line. And that's a home run and no good in volleyball. And it is 2 serving 4.
U.S. starting to play very solidly.
And that results in a side out for Korea with our score 4-2. Korea is on top. We will come back with more competition here at the Goodwill Games. Don't go away. Welcome back to Lennon Central Stadium, smaller arena. Leandra Riley along with Ann Meyers now, and the United States is in a little bit of trouble in this second game. They won the first contest 15-7, but now they're down by 4 points to North Korea wearing the red uniforms.
Well, as in the first game, they haven't had a chance in this game, the second game, to pass as well as they did in the first game. And also the North Koreans are getting some balls down, and defensively the Americans are out of position.
So North Korea with the service, you are looking at number 5, Pak Jong-Suk. She will serve for the Korean team.
You know, I think they're kind of going through a transition period, too, because Mike was saying how Carolyn Kirby is hitting now, and she was setting most of the time for the ball club, and Michelle Boyette is now setting, and then you have Weishoff coming in. So they've really changed their starting lineup around in the past few weeks.
Well, with a new quarterback, there's always a little bit of confusion, but they look very sharp in the first game, 15-7. Here's that Weishoff serve. That's a tough one to handle. That running spike serve, effective there. She got them a point. It is now 3 serving 6.
The North Koreans have been doing a pretty good job in handling that serve. That's probably about the first time they've had a little bit of difficulty in it.
And that's too long, too much power from Weishoff. So the Koreans with the lead, serving 6-3, as Kim Young-Suk will serve as you look at Carolyn Kirby.
Angela Rock, who's sitting the bench right now, was starting, and she also has the same kind of serve that Paula Weishoff has.
Weishoff from behind the 10-foot spike line. She is omnipotent. USA gets to serve again. We take a look at the Korean receivers. This is Marcia Bond with the service. Right back to Bond. This is Kirby. Good up. And it dies in the net. A lucky break for the USA. 4 serving 6. They're closing the gap.
United States basically going to Carolyn Kirby when she's up front, and Kemner.
And there is a timeout called by the North Korean team. Our score, USA 4, Korea 6 in game number 2 in this best-of-5 match. And with our score, USA up 1-0 in this best-of-5 match, we will be back with more after these messages. It is now 6-5. Korea is still on top, and you just witnessed a side out in favor of the USA thanks to Karen Kemner. Ann Meyers, you are still with us here in the booth, along with Michael O'Hara, and the United States seems to be getting their stuff back together again.
Well, if they can get some good passes, they put the ball away against the North Koreans, but the North Koreans have really been tough at the net. They've been getting some good digs, and they're putting away some kills.
Korea is ahead by 1 point. 15 is considered a game. 3 games will win the match. Getting ready to serve is Pak Len-sil. Carolyn Kirby ready for the reception. Kemner took it. And that pass died. They're going to say never over, and it's going to count as what we call a double hit point for Korea, 7-5.
The Americans, a couple times when they've tried to run the middle, have not gotten the set high enough for the middle hitter to get the ball down, and it has gone into the net.
Again, that was not the best of passes, but Boyette made chicken salad out of chicken feet. Right. Carolyn Kirby serving for the USA. Oh, pretty shot by Hu Sung-ye.
Again, the North Koreans passing the ball well, digging it, and getting a chance to run options off their offense and putting the ball where the Americans are not. Nice serve.
Weishoff. Off the block. Boyette sitting to the other side this time. Kirby couldn't do it.
The Americans like to set to their back row hitters a lot of times, and that time Kirby hit it out, and there was another time Kemner has hit the ball out too, so the few times that they've tried it, they've come up short.
Weishoff with the lob. Boyette going to Kemner. Ooh. Lovely play by the North Koreans.
Really, again, the same result, going to the back set off that, and Kemner trying to hit the ball, and the North Koreans gaining control of it, and they're able to take advantage of it.
9 serving 5. Boyette going out to Kemner. That one is good. Side out for the USA.
Kemner was a little closer to the net that time, able to put her away for the kill.
I think she's saying thanks. I needed that.
give her a little bit more confidence, come back to her.
Dietrich Collins with the service. And that's some impressive leg bandages that she has on her leg.
She's had 5 surgeries on that knee. And that serve right there has been another problem that the United States has had throughout this match, is a lot of service errors. And that has been very costly to them.
And that's because in volleyball, you only score points when you serve, unlike tennis. Every attack does not always result in a point. Boyette to Bond with a roundhouse dink.
That was a miss.
But it sounds better as a roundhouse dink. Weissoff goes down the line, but it's out of bounds. Another point for Korea. So the North Koreans are now ahead 10-5.
Well, what's happened with those service errors, too, for the United States is they just can't get anything going offensively. Once they get a side out, all of a sudden they turn it over.
And I think that Terry Liskevich is wise in calling a timeout at this junction because his team trails by 5 points. After winning the first game 15-7, they are now down in the second game 10-5. What does the USA have to do to get back in the match?
I think, first of all, they have to get their passes a little bit better. The North Koreans are really serving the ball well, and they're serving a lot of short balls. I think if the Americans can move their feet a little bit more and get underneath and pass the ball to the setter so Michelle Boyette can run some options offensively, running some crosses, running the middle a little bit more, the Americans might be able to come back.
North Korea serving, and that was an ace.
No communication there on that 3-man back defense.
I'll say that's demoralizing because after a timeout, that's not supposed to happen. It's the opposite supposed to happen. So it is now 11 serving 5, and we have a substitution. They're going to change quarterbacks. Boyette will come out, and entering the contest is Kathy Noth.
Kathy Noth had filled in for Carolyn Kirby when she had jammed her ring finger on her right hand and really filled in well as a setter.
And that went out.
Off the block.
But they're going to say the USA touches, so it is a point, 12-5.
Well, I think bringing Kathy and Terry is trying to change the momentum a little bit and trying to get something going with a new setter in there.
Angela Rock will enter the game, and exiting the contest is number 7, Karen Kemner.
Angela Rock is probably the best back row player for the United States, and they need some passing. Good one-on-one block there.
And the stuff spike did not work for North Korea. A break for the USA. They will get a chance to serve. And doing the honors, Kathy Noth.
Marcia Bond in the front row. Try to run the middle a little bit more with Paula Weissoff in there, too. Another service there. United States just can't get anything going offensively.
It makes you wonder, at this point in time, if you're having trouble, why not just send it over the easiest and safest way possible?
You would think so, but the Americans are so aggressive, they figure if they're going to get the point, go for it hard.
Again, we have a side out in favor of the USA as Paula Weissoff goes back to serve.
That was close.
Oh, nice up.
Good up by Kirby.
And the stutter dink, I'll call that. Another dink. Valiant effort by the USA's Kathy Noth, but it was for naught. Side out for North Korea.
Rock and Bond were there for the block, but the United States just isn't rotating anybody up. They seem to be getting caught defensively out of position.
As you look at Angela Rock, number 2, Kathy Noth, number 11.
United States needs a good pass here to get something going and get the ball back.
Noth. Off the block.
Well, there were 3 people up on that block, and Paula Weissoff in the back row all by herself could not get over for positioning again defensively. United States is just not there.
So it is now 13-5. And North Korea could very easily tie things up with just 2 more points.
North Korea is doing a good job up at the net. They're blocking the Americans very well. And if they don't get a block or get a hand on it, they're distracting the hitter, and at least they're getting their digs up. Kathy Noth underneath the line.
And it is now 14-5, and this is game point. And the momentum has definitely switched in favor of North Korea. Bringing things back to the USA, Angela Rock.
That was a nice kill right there. Angela Rock really had no opposition at all.
Substitution coming into the game is Liz Massakayan, and exiting the contest is Marsha Bond.
Liz is one of the best servers on the team.
They need that.
They got it over.
Into a block. U.S. is ready. That goes over to Kirby. And off the North Korean block, and the USA has scored a point.
Now, this is what the Americans need, maybe some change of pace right here. But the North Koreans, again, did a good job up at the net blocking. Another service there.
In volleyball, if the serve hits the net, it is not reserved like tennis. It is a side out. So Korea, once again, has the game on the line, 14 serving 6.
Only one chance.
Good cross. Again, Angela Rock brings things back to the USA.
And Angela Rock made an excellent pass up to Kathy Noth, and they were able to run that cross play.
6 serving 14.
Angela is the smallest player on the American team at 5'8", and probably has one of the best jumps behind Liz Massakayan. There's that jump serve. Ooh.
Nice job. She's everywhere. Lisa Collins.
Well, it might be the spark that the Americans need.
All those bandages, and she can still get way up there. It is now 7-14. And that's the funny thing about volleyball. It's a game of momentum, and North Korea is trying to stop that momentum by calling a timeout. They know that Angela Rock is a spark plug, and she's keeping things going for the USA.
That's a smart play by North Korea, as you said, Leandra, because this game is so involved with momentum, and it can change just like that.
The head coach for the North Korean team is Joe Georgi. His assistant coach is Lee Yen-zu. For the USA, our head coach is Terry Laskevich, and Jim Eames is his assistant.
Here's the set right here. Here's the cross. Deetra Collins makes it. Oh, well, it wasn't the cross. It went right to the middle to Deetra, and she made a good put away back in the corner. Tough play.
And that's the call in favor of North Korea. And once again, they've got the game on the line, 14 serving 7.
And there's that back row play again, going to the back hitter. And you have to question that call because it has not worked for the Americans.
Peculiar set. It was not meant to be, and that's how the game will end for North Korea on a USA error. 15-7 is our final. North Korea is the winner of game number 2. The USA took game number 1 by that same score. Right now, let's go back to Lenin Central Stadium and Charlie Neal.
We have the final results of the women's 400-meter hurdles. It was Marina Stepanova of the Soviet Union with a 53.81. She wins the gold medal in the women's 400-meter hurdles. Her personal record coming in 53.67, very close to that. In second place, Cristiana Matei of Romania with a 54.55, while Ellen Fiedler of East Germany finished third with a 54.80. We'll be back with more coverage of our Goodwill Games after this message.
Yesterday, one of the most exciting events thus far in the Goodwill Games was the men's 4x200 relay. It's all freestyle, and it was a race to the wire between the Soviets and the Americans, with the U.S. winning by just the slightest of margins. Now those same swimmers are matched again in 2 races, a split field, the finals of the men's individual 100-meter freestyle. It should be another humdinger. Let's go back to John Neighbor and Roddy Gaines.
Anytime. Okay, we're getting ready to start Heat 1 of the men's 100 meters freestyle. The world record holder, Matt Biondi, of 48.74. The Olympic record held by the man seated to my right. Rowdy Gaines, triple gold medal winner in the Olympics. Quickly, let's go down the field. Leonid Muscat, Romanian, in 1. Stefan Gustin, West Germany, in 2. Dave Kurska, USA, in 3. Nikolai Evseev, perhaps favored, in 4. Gennady Prigoda, both of the Soviet Union, in 5. Randy Everett, Andrei Matsk, and Carlos Scanavino rounding out the field.
False start. Lane number 2 seemed to dive in a little bit early.
It seems that there's a lot of eagerness at the beginning of this race. So the athletes are a little bit touchy. Looks like lane 1, Stefan Gusten, West Germany, jumped in the pool. Let's take a look at the new starting here with 1 false start charge to the field. So the 100-meter freestyle, here it comes, 2 lengths to the pool. World record by Matt Biondi, 48.74. Olympic record, 49.80 by Rowdy Gaines, who's seated right alongside. Running down those lanes again real quick. Leonid Muscat from Romania in lane 1. Stefan Gusten from West Germany in 2. Dave Kurska, USA in 3. Nikolai Evseev from the Soviet Union in 4. Gennady Prigoda, Soviet Union in 5. Randy Everett in 6. Andre Matzkin, East German in 7. And Carlos Canavino from Uruguay in lane 8. Rowdy Gaines, the start, the most crucial part of this race?
Yes, it is. It's only 2 laps, 49 seconds, 50 seconds maybe. This is a real true test of great sprinting ability, but also a great test of endurance to see who can hang on here at the end. You're going to see a strong 6-speed kick. You're going to see all swimmers rise to the top of the water.
Well, it looks like Nikolai Evseev stayed underwater a little bit long. It's cost him about half a body length. The field seems to be cluttered with Americans right now. Dave Kurska in 3, and perhaps down in lane 5, Gennady Prigoda, the Soviet Union, coming into the wall.
Both Americans, all the swimmers are going to have to go into the wall, get underneath that huge wave that they bring in there, and then rise up to the surface of the water and try not to breathe off the wall.
It looks like Randy Everett of the United States currently taking lead. You see him in the dark cap coming down with 30 meters remaining.
He knew he was going to have to be out fast. The question here is can he hang on here at the end? There goes Evseev right now, the Soviet swimmer.
Nikolai Evseev, a 21-year-old out of Leningrad, has taken over the lead in this 100 meters freestyle, and he's being dragged on both sides. And it looks like Nikolai Evseev, the Soviet Union, gets himself a win. He's in lane 4, unofficially a time of 50.74. In second place, it might be lane 3, Dave Kurska, a 20-year-old from Royal Oak, Michigan. And a possible third place is going to go to lane 5, Gennady Prigoda, the Soviet Union. So it looks like a gold and a bronze. A gold and a bronze for the Soviet Union.
There's a picture of Randy Everett. He just got tired. He's a good short course swimmer, meaning a 25-yard pool, but he just got a little bit tired there at the end. He took it out like he wanted to.
So Nikolai Evseev brings home the gold for the local town there, cheering with applause. Now, we had a chance to watch the women's 100 freestyle earlier. Our Nancy Hogshead is down on pool deck with the winner, Angel Meyers.
Angel, another gold medal at these Goodwill Games. How did you pull it off?
Oh, gosh. I tried to go out a little smooth and take the long stroke on the first 50 because I'm a really drop-dead sprinter, so I was afraid I was going to die on the way back because I didn't go out hard, so I had a lot left on the way back.
Good for you. Did breaking the American record in the 50, did that encourage you at all or give you inspiration?
Oh, yeah. Well, since I'm not a 100 swimmer, you know, since I did so well in the 50, I thought, well, wow, you know, maybe I can do it in the 100 too.
Good for you. Congratulations, Angel.
Thank you.
Getting ready to come back to the second heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle. Because this is such a popular event, you know that there's a lot of entrants in this event, and we've had to go to a second heat. Now, this is done on a time final basis, which basically means that an athlete who swims a faster time will place higher. It's strictly done on the computer results, and you know that our winning time from the first heat was a 50.74. Rowdy Gaines, you got the Olympic record. Is a 50.74 obtainable for this second heat?
I don't know. You got in lane number 4, Sergei Smiryagin from the Soviet Union. He's been around a long time. He's got a lot of experience, and his seated time of 50.1 is over half a second faster than the previous heat.
So certainly we might have an overall event winner here in the second heat. Let's take a look at the athletes in this second heat. In lane 2, Benjamin Sayanovich from the Soviet Union. In lane 3, Adam Schmidt, a 19-year-old out of Baton Rouge. He'll be in lane 3. Sergei Smiryagin from the Soviet Union. Rowdy referred to him as the fastest entry time. John Sauerland, the winner of the event, half this distance, the 50-meter freestyle earlier in the meet. He'll be in lane 5, and Andreas Betten from West Germany will round out the field on the outside lane. So the fact that there's only 5 swimmers in this heat, does that give these swimmers an advantage, Rowdy?
Well, the swimmers on the outside lanes, in lanes number 2 and lanes number 6, will have a little bit of an advantage because they have clear water on the other side. Maybe they can get up against that lane line and have none of the waves that come in there.
There you see John Sauerland. The Soviet girls say that he's got a very pretty face. So he's got a real handsome man. He's a graduate of UCLA. Andreas Betten from West Germany getting ready for the start. We've seen false starts in sprint races before. There's a lot of tension immediately prior to the gun.
Yeah, the sprint event is the one event that there is sometimes a false start. The swimmers get a little nervous, and when you come down, sometimes your legs are shaking a little bit, and that causes you to go in. The Americans in the race, John Sauerland and Adam Schmidt, are better known as a 50 swimmer, so they've got to get it out. The main thing is, can they hang on?
Also, it's important to come down on the start quickly.
Yeah, because you never know how the starter's going to start you. They have different starters for every race.
Remember the time to beat set in the earlier heat, 50.74. Oh, we had a lane. Who was that, Rowdy?
Lane number 6 over there is Andreas Ferrand from West Germany. He just leaned over a little bit too long.
Anticipating the starter's command, he gains an unfair advantage, and the officials call it back. We'll see this heat starting up again in just a second. The officials on the sidelines, one is in charge with starting the heat, the other one is in charge with calling it back. We heard a short whistle, and it looked like it might also have been lane 3, Adam Schmidt of the United States, taking a little bit of a lead. You know, the Soviet spectators wanting to get this event back underway. A brief round of applause. The athletes want to...
This is a real glamour event, like you said, John. I mean, you know, if I must say so myself, it's a really great event because, you know, it's a real true test of a sprint. It's real comparable to the 400 meters in track.
Now, you saw the officials indicating that it was lane 6, as you said, Rowdy. Andreas Berend from West Germany. He was the one who was caught rolling. Now we try it again. The false start, of course, charged to the field. 2 false starts are allowed. The third one merits a disqualification. We don't expect another here. Oh,
no,
there it was.
Not a false start.
A second false start. Somebody's out on this one, perhaps.
No. I think yes, in international rules, you are allowed 3 false starts. Now, if somebody false starts on this one, they're gone.
Yeah, the official saw it. He's not wavering at all. He's ready to recall them at any chance that there's any impropriety done in this field.
Maybe these guys are a little bit more nervous because they had the heat before them. You know, maybe they're thinking that time isn't that fast. Maybe they think, hey, I can beat this time. Maybe that's getting them a little bit antsy.
This time it looked like John Sauerland. Let's reset the field if you could. The second heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle. Too many entrants in the first, so they've opened it up to another heat. We've had 2 false starts. There will be none others without a disqualification. Lane 2, Veniamin Pajanovich, Soviet Union. Adam Schmidt, USA in 3. Sergei Smyrigin in 4. John Sauerland, American in 5. And Andreas Berend in lane 6. 2 lengths of the pool world record held by Matt Biondi. Olympic record by the man to my right, Rowdy Gaines.
If there's a false start here, they're going to just let them swim.
Well, there didn't seem to be, but
a fair start there.
But a good one for John Sauerland of the United States. He's a UCLA graduate and is a very quick starter. But the race now becomes between Adam Schmidt of USA and Sergei Smyrigin of the Soviet Union.
John Sauerland told me before the race that he had to get it out all year long. He hasn't been getting the 100 out fast enough. He's bringing it home a little bit quicker than usual, but he's got to get it out there to have a chance to swim against that Soviet, Smyrigin.
Now remember, they're not only racing the swimmers in this heat, they're racing the best times in the first heat. And it is the Soviet, Sergei Smyrigin, who is swimming ahead with a half body length lead.
Right now, John Sauerland swimming right down the middle of the pool, but Adam Schmidt on the other side is trying to get up against that lane line and trying to drag off the Soviet swimmer. Here comes John Sauerland, though.
It's Sauerland and Smyrigin. Smyrigin looking to have a half body length advantage. Sauerland not far behind. Smyrigin's going to touch first. Sauerland second, and then Veniamin Pajanovich. So the Soviet Union got third. Now remember, these are only heat results. These are not time finals. These are time finals. These times will apply against the first heat, and we do have a time that ranks in the top 3.
And Smyrigin's experience really paid off there. He controlled his feelings and his emotions in that second heat. Maybe he thought maybe he should have been in the first heat to see if he had a chance to win it, but he had a good time. There he is right there. He'll be happy about that.
So the second heat results, here we look at the replay.
Here's the replay right there. Smyrigin knew he's just about a half body length ahead. Sauerland came on at the end, but Smyrigin didn't breathe the last 2 or 3 strokes. Took about a half stroke in to get into the wall. He might have been a little faster if he took a longer stroke, but still won it nonetheless.
So as a result of that final heat, let's take a look at our official results in the 100-meter freestyle. In first place, the time 50.74 from the Soviet Union, Nikolai Evseev. He's 21-year-old out of Leningrad. Silver medal goes to the other Soviet, Sergei Smyrigin. His time 50.97. And the lone American in the medal ceremony, Dave Kurska of the United States, 20-year-old out of Royal Oak, Michigan, comes home with the bronze.
So two Soviet swimmers finishing 1-2 in the men's 100-meter. Dave Kurska picking up the bronze for the Americans. We have a very exciting volleyball game that's taking place between North Korea and the United States. Each team has won one game. We're going to go back for the rubber match in just a moment. Stay with us as we continue with the Goodwill Games coverage.
Neil said, this is the rubber match. The USA won the first game, North Korea won the second game, and right now North Korea is on top in the third game. Our score is now 14-7.
It's talking like very shaky on the U.S. side. Poor serving. New quarterback, Michelle Boyette, has had some problems in there. The coach is trying to find a combination that'll work.
We've had several substitutions. Now, this is a best-of-5 match, so you do have to win 3 games. And right now, it looks like North Korea is very close to winning their second game. But volleyball's so emotional, this whole thing could swing back to the USA. And there's a classic example. A nice, easy spike that landed inbounds, but very deep in the court, so it's side out for the USA. They're still alive.
2 nice digs, by the way, by the newest substitution, Elena Oden, who is a rookie in the team, just joined it about 3 weeks ago. And she's come in big and strong. Let's see what she does.
She played for University of the Pacific, and Pacific won the NCAA women's title this year, largely due to her efforts.
Great dig, Karen Kimner.
Weisshoff putting it over. And that one out of bounds. They are saying no touch. So the United States is getting a little bit closer to North Korea.
Nice defensive plays that time by the United States. That's what they need to do to get back in this ball game.
It is 8-14, and North Korea has taken a timeout. This is Coach Terry Liskevich. He's of Ukrainian ancestry. He coached at the University of Pacific, but left that job to take over after Ari Selinger left the team after the 1984 games. It has been a rebuilding process. Every Olympian left except for Weisshoff, who came back. Let's take a look at Terry Liskevich through his Goodwill profile.
Start out. Janie, your left back on this side, middle back is Sandy. My feeling has always been that in America, competition is very important. To be number 1 is very important. And I'm an American, and I feel that all the time. And that doesn't mean that we're going to sacrifice anything in order to win. Terry Liskevich's method of coaching is people-oriented. Come on, communicate.
Terry cares tremendously about the athletes. He said over and over again that they come first, both on and off the court.
Growing up in a Ukrainian community in Chicago, I saw a lot of volleyball. I went to medical school, and I didn't like it. And I said, I'd like to be an Olympic player or an Olympic volleyball coach. Okay, switch this way. Then went on to become a head coach at Ohio State and then University of Pacific. I always said we'll have a national contender, and we made the Final Four 6 years that I was there. Sandy, you're going to be... With the USA job, I took the job, and we were faced with having no returning Olympic athletes, and it was another challenge, moving to a new training center in San Diego, starting from scratch. I always liked those kind of challenges.
Terry Liskevich's philosophy of coaching at the University of the Pacific and with the United States women's national team are very much the same.
Janie, the second thing I'd like to talk about is skill priorities.
He's going to treat everybody individually and fairly, but that doesn't mean that he's going to treat everybody equally. And I think that has a lot to do with why he has been so successful.
I feel that Terry's strongest suit is that he just relates to people very well. Something's really got to be bothering him to get him riled. He's had all different kind of players, yet I think most of those players would say that they respect him and that they feel that they were treated fairly.
It's important to Terry Liskevich that people respond to me in a human way because I'd like to respond to people in a human way.
I'm watching your moves when you're hitting Ds especially.
I don't think that I'd be happy with myself as a person if 10 years down the road I would say, gee, I did everything I could. I compromised my principles. I treated my team in a bad way. I had a real bad home life. But I won the Olympic gold medal.
If my house was burning down and I was standing out on the street, Terry Liskevich would probably be there on the fire truck, helping put the fire out. And I don't think it's just because I'm one of his players. I think it's because he's that type of human being.
From that of former Olympic coach Ari Selinger. A very intense man was Ari Selinger. Terry Liskevich, a little bit more laid back, likes to have his athletes involved in a lot of things in life, not just volleyball, doesn't believe in practicing 4 to 6 hours a day like his predecessor. But let's get back to the game at hand. The United States is now down 2-1, and in this fourth game, North Korea in the red has the lead by a score of 2-0.
And Terry would like to see his team focus on nothing but volleyball right now. There's a big upset brewing, and that's with the Koreans looking awfully good and the United States looking very shaky. Sidearm serve by the North Koreans.
And I would have called a net violation, but the referee did not, and he's not listening to me, so it is now 4-0 in favor of North Korea. And we have a timeout called by Terry Liskevich as he tries to swing momentum back in favor of the USA. We did see them rally somewhat in game number 3. They took game number 1, 15-7. They lost the next 2 games, 15-7, 15-10. And now they are down by 4 points in this game. If they lose this contest, they will lose the match. Best of 5 is considered a match in this competition. And let's talk about the pool situation once more, Michael O'Hara. There are 2 pools. The USA and several other teams are in one, and the Soviet Union and several other teams are in the other. And your favorites, once again, to come out on top as the top 4 teams.
The favorites are the Soviet Union, of course, the highest-ranked team in the country in the tournament with home court advantage. And then, of course, Peru would be the second highest-rated. The United States and Japan in the same pool together will have to fight it out for a medal, and all 4 of those teams should be fighting for the first 3 spots.
And now we may have to include North Korea in that contest as one of the favorite teams because they're looking awfully sharp here, winning 5-0 in this 4th game.
Ever since number 8 came into the match in that 2nd game after they lost the 1st game, Han Chun-ok has really made a difference, as has Kim Hyun-suk. Those are the 2 leaders for the North Koreans.
North Korea in red, USA in white. And that was never over, and it is another point for North Korea, and they now have a 7-0 advantage. Pak Young-Suk with the service. Notes with the set. Kemner. Nice stuff hit by North Korea. Good set to the outside. Now picking it up, Bond will hit it with a nice lob spike. North Korea going right through the block that time. Bond going over the block.
North Korea digging up everything in sight.
Nothing's touching the ground over there. And finally, a break for the USA, side out, as Angela Rock moves back to serve.
South Korea's awfully quick, looking a lot like the Japanese did in their traditional gymnastic type of play approach.
And we're back with Michelle Boyette as our setter. Kathy Noth is out. Boyette will set.
Angela Rock tries a jump serve. She's one of the fine servers on the team, one of the steady players on this team, but no one's too steady right now out there. They really need a spark. They need some leadership.
Marsha Bond in the middle.
That's the nice play. That's what the United States has to do more of, is get that good first pass, have 3 options, and put that ball down to the floor. Nice wall up there.
Oh.
Better two people diving for that ball than no one. Nice try.
This was a case of Kirby's body getting in the way. She dove for it and actually blocked her own teammate from getting to it.
A lot of bodies hitting that floor now.
That's Carolyn Kirby that you are looking at right now. We move over to the Korean side, and our score once again 7-0. North Korea on top. Elena Oden trying to do something. It did not work. Another point for North Korea. 8-0.
Setting position, a little bit of trouble still. Not getting that ball where those hitters need to have it in order to put the ball away.
Set is so important. They tried again, but this time the beautiful block was executed by Kim Jong-Suk of North Korea.
Here again, you have players that have never set to one another, and so no one's quite sure where that ball's going to be. You don't have the experience that these other international teams have going for them.
Boyette, this time going out to Kirby, who gets the job done.
9-0.
Let's see if USA can get some points. Karen Kemner serving, and that was just a little bit long, side out.
Serving has not been well executed the whole match for the United States.
We should add that if the USA loses this match, it does not mean they are out of the tournament. This is a round-robin tournament in their pool. They will play everyone in their pool, and whoever has the best record, the two best teams in the pool will go on in further competition. So the U.S. is still very much alive, even if they should lose this game and match. Nice block by the USA, but a beautifully placed ball by North Korea.
On a lot of those sets, Michelle Boyette is not giving the hitters enough height so that they can reach up high and hit over that block. Nice play, though, by Michelle in that time.
That's what they need to do, mix it up a little bit more. Elena Oden serving for the USA as you look at Michelle Boyette.
The United States is needing to get on the board right now before the North Koreans get to 2 digits. Nice dink by Michelle Boyette. Great player at UCLA for the last 4 years.
Set by Rock to Marsha Bond. The dance is on the net. Korea takes it back. They go outside and over the block. Nicely executed hit by Kim Jong-Suk.
UCLA trying to build a fire. A lot of good players out on that court. Terry Leskowitz feels this is the best natural talent that the United States team has ever had, but it's kind of like an all-star team out there. They're all trying to get their act together, trying to gel as a team, and having great difficulty doing it.
0 serving 9. To the block. Now remember, block doesn't count as a hit, so if you're seeing 4 contacts, don't panic. The first block doesn't count. Lena Oden bringing it back into play. A nice save by the USA. And that went off the block and out of bounds, so North Korea will get to serve.
Kim Young-Suk going up there and hitting that ball across court, got a piece of the block and out of bounds. And the North Koreans doing very little wrong out there, really playing smoothly.
Kim Young-Ok will go into the game. Pak Jong-Suk will leave. Kim Young-Ok will go in and serve, number 12.
The United States needs to start executing that good first pass so that their offense starts to be fluid.
And that worked out nicely.
That's the script. That's the script that the United States has to have in order to make this thing go.
Angela Rock will leave the game, and coming in for her is Paula Weishoff.
Paula saved up a little more energy for a great jump serve. Let's see what she does. She polished this offensive weapon over in Italy for the last 2 seasons. Let's see what she does with it. Not bad.
That's out. Nobody touched it. The USA is finally on the scoreboard.
Now, it's a lot easier to hit the second serve hard because that first one, if you miss it, you're a bum. That's, well, semi-bum.
Okay. At least you got him on the scoreboard.
That's right. You have to go for it now. You've got to get offensive and aggressive out there if you're going to take this game away from them.
Weishoff to Bond. Nope, she goes backwards.
Nice left. Marcia Bond with the left hand. Beautifully done. 1 serving 9.
Now Marcia Bond will serve.
Lots of perspiration this time of the match.
The dink. USA was ready, sort of. Sent it back over free. North Korea with a soft hit off the block. And that was effective. The United States loses the serve once again.
The old Euro shot here. Everybody's looking at the other person instead of going for it. Yep, and down it goes.
Nine serving 1. Valiant effort by Elaine Oden. Point for North Korea.
No deception on that set because the pass was not properly executed. Both blockers knew where that ball was going, and they were ready.
North Korea up 10-1. Boyette fakes to Oden, goes out to Carolyn Kirby, and that one is golden.
Her favorite shot down the line. Nobody blocking there.
I thought you were going to say her favorite shot over the net.
Substitution, one of the good serves in the game coming in.
Liz Massakayan.
Kiss of death. That's the 4th serve that in this game that has gone into the net or out of bounds.
And now Korea's Park Len-sil will serve. Massakayan with the reception. Boyette. They go over to Kirby. It goes off the block and out of bounds, so the United States gets another chance to serve.
Carolyn Kirby starting to get steady out there. She's had to convert from being the quarterback, the setter on the team, to being the hitter where she has to do a lot of passing and digging. That's been tough on her this match.
Again, the scramble on the U.S. side. Now the USA is trying to protest the call.
That's a strange
but
call.
But the official said no.
Yeah, I'd have to disagree with that. I thought it was touched last by the North Koreans.
10 serving 1. North Korea on top in this 4th game. That's out. It is now 11-1, and the USA, who won the 1st game, lost the second 2, and they're in trouble in this 4th game.
Paula Weissoff not ready to hit that bad set. Can't afford to do that. Got to keep the ball in play.
Weissoff. And it's answered by Korea. Weissoff.
Right back at you. Great dig.
Now she's up for the kill. And yes.
Down on the line. Got a piece of it. Saw a little chalk come up.
That's all that counts.
They needed that badly.
Elena Oden serving for the USA. Back over by Oden. Might have been out, but North Korea touched it.
We'll never know.
Massakayan with the up. Boyette over to Weissoff. And that comes off the block, but North Korea is going to put it back in play. Boyette to Weissoff. And that one touched the block. Point for the USA. It is now 2 serving 11.
Nice dig.
Diving by Massakayan, yes. It dances on the net. Boyette's going to have to get up there and do something with it, and that was not the right thing.
Well, again, the timing between hitter and setter. A little rough around the edges.
Frustration shows.
11 serving 2. Good pass needed here.
Young-Suk serving. Marcia Bond. Now we're having an interesting dilemma with the call. In and out. They're saying it was out.
Oh, they had to call a touch on that block. That ball was touched.
12 serving 2. Weissoff hits it out. Off the block, though. side out for the USA.
That time the touch was spotted. Paula Weishoff, it looks like her timing's a little off. She's not really extending that arm all the way up and hitting over. So therefore she's either hitting some of the block or hitting out.
Side out again for North Korea. Do you think she's a little bit tentative because of the score situation?
Or maybe she's not sure where that set's going to come. But meanwhile, number 6, Kim Young-Suk, looking awfully good out there. Not making many hitting errors at all.
Park Jong-suk with the serve. And the United States has elected to take a timeout. Our score, North Korea 12, USA 2. We'll be back with more, but first this. First side of those numbers. They won the first game, lost the next two. And Meyers, is there a rally in the making here?
Well, I think Carolyn Kirby and Weishoff and Mazakayan have really made a difference in this third game.
Weishoff setting something up to Mazakayan, who goes into the net. Side out for North Korea.
What Mike was alluding to earlier is that this team is basically an all-star team. I was talking to Terry earlier, and he was saying that he's just trying to get a team ready for 1988, and there's a lot of players that did not come on this trip. So these guys are just trying to adjust to each other and learning each other's moves.
Out to Kirby. North Korea doing a great job on defense. Boy, are they hustling. Through the block. So it is point for North Korea. And we are at game and match point.
North Korea has been incredible defensively. They have just dug everything the United States has thrown at them, and they've done a super job up at the net, too. They're hitting the ball well, and they're doing great blocking.
Karen Kemner back in the game. Mazakayan is out, and Korea has won it. North Korea, our score 15-3. They've taken games 2, 3, and 4, and has shut the door on the USA.
The United States really had a tough night tonight. The first game they came out, were passing the ball fairly well, but I think that was their big downfall. Their passing was just atrocious, and their service errors. Those were the two big things that they were not doing well, and the United States all year long has not passed the ball well.
That is so true. They came out of the blocks like gangbusters, but North Korea adjusted, came back, and the USA just couldn't handle them. Again, our score, North Korea 3, USA 1. North Korea wins their first match. United States is now 0-1 in women's volleyball competition. We're going to take a timeout, but when we come back, Nick Charles and Bob Neal will have more on these Goodwill games.
We'll Neil, Nick Charles with you again, and Nick, a disappointing loss for U.S. Volleyball, the women's team, but I think it's important to point out here that this is a round robin with two pools, A and B, and the top two teams, after they each play each other in each pool, will have an opportunity to play for the championship. So the U.S. women are not out of it, even though disappointed.
They're going to have to radically change some things, as indicated from that first game, Bob. What we saw is the U.S. really getting out-hustled. The North Koreans were more aggressive and just quicker on offense, and they found the holes in the U.S. defense. And as Leandra Riley pointed out from the site of the game, or the match, the U.S. Just didn't put anything together offensively. So a lot of work to get going. It is a young team. No excuses for the Americans, but they've got an uphill battle now.
What excitement that we have. Just meet after meet at the swimming venue, and we have more swimming for you in a moment as we continue with our coverage of the 1986 Goodwill Games. Stay with us. As we come to the last day of our swimming competition here at the Goodwill Games, we've had tremendous and exciting competition, particularly between the U.S., the USSR, and Bulgaria has done very well, too. Well, now in the women's 4x100 individual medley relay, we're going to get a chance to see the best of all those teams competing against each other. Let's go now to the swimming venue.
Thanks a lot. We're here at the Moscow Olympic Swimming Complex, where the games were held in 1980. We've had a lot of good swims here by everybody concerned. Coming up, the medley relay. This is generally where each country puts their champion individual stroke specialist in this relay. The world record held by East Germany, a time of 4:03.69. The Olympic record held by the East German national team at this pool in Moscow in 1980. You see on your screen, the United States has a B team, their second four. United States has an A team. East Germany is scratched, interestingly enough. They're starting off with a backstroke. Tracy Calkins, who has the nod on the results we've seen so far?
Well, Lori McLean, swimming for the USA's A team, was third in the 100-meter backstroke to 2 Romanians, but the Romanians do not have an entry in here, so she should get off to a really good lead for the United States. I was surprised that the East Germans scratched their relay. They have a lot of tradition in this event. It's been one of their strongest events as they hold the world record, but it's going to be a race between the Soviets and the Americans.
Top of the screen will be USA's B team, the empty lanes from East Germany. The Soviet A team is in 4, USA A team in 5, Bulgarian team in 6, Soviet B team in 7, and the USA even has a C team down at the bottom in lane 8. You are now looking at Lori McLean from the United States, holding on to a comfortable margin as far as the international competition is concerned. The lead does come from the Soviet right now, and Natalia Subaeva, the Soviet A squad, fighting against USA's B team, Beth Barr, swimming the backstroke leg for them.
And it's going to be really important for Lori to get in here with a nice clean touch for Kathy Smith doing the breaststroke. This breaststroke is a key leg for the United States, as the Soviets have a very strong breaststroker.
And in the water for the Soviets, Yelena Volkova, the Soviet swimmer swimming the breaststroke there. Also for the A team, Kathy Smith, the graduate from Stanford. In fact, she'll be coming back to Europe later this year to study at Oxford for a couple of months.
And she just took over from Lori McLean, who will be a freshman at Stanford next year. And Kathy is just trying to stay up with the Soviet and is going to try and run her down the second 50.
Yelena Volkova on your screen, swimming the long, powerful strokes that are common in the Soviet Union breaststroke dynasties. They've won the gold medal in 1976. They did well in 1980. So the breaststroke is an Eastern European country favorite. Right now, the charge from Kathy Smith in the white cap, the USA's A squad. The Americans doing very well so far in this, the final day of swimming competition.
They are doing great, and I think the girls are really fired up. There's been a lot of spirit, enthusiasm, and Kathy is staying right with Volkova, who was a winner in one of the breaststroke races. So it's a surprise that Kathy's staying right there. She knows she's got to get in there for Kelly Davis to have a good chance to take over the lead.
Kelly Davies on the blocks, getting ready for the butterfly leg. She will go against the Soviet Tatiana Kurnikova. Tatiana hits the water. Kelly Davies just behind. A slow touch by Kathy Smith, but they're now into the water a body length behind.
And it was a little bit of a slow touch for Kathy Smith. She was tiring at the end, and Kelly just had to make sure she got her finish before she took off. She's got a lot of ground to catch up on the Soviets. She's swimming against the European record holder, and she's going to just try and run her down.
National pride at stake, the American A and B squad in second and possibly third at this point. But it's the Soviets who are controlling this race so far. Tatiana Kurnikova holding on to her body length and a half lead, putting a great deal of pressure on the top American. Angel Meyers, she's won 3 gold medals. She'll be swimming the freestyle leg for the United States. You see her there preparing her cap and goggles.
And she's just getting really psyched up. It's a lot of ground to have to catch up, but right now, Kurnikova is getting a little bit tired. Kelly's gaining on her, but in 100 freestyle, it's really hard to catch up a full body length, but Angel's going to do her best.
The Soviet anchor leg now entering the water. Yelena Dendibarova, an outstanding sprinter for the Soviet Union, one of the older women on the team. Angel Meyers trying to draft off her on the lane number 5, moving alongside her and on the outside lane. USA's B team with Kathy Coffin now in the water, holding on to the bronze position. But there on your screen, Angel Meyers in the white cap, Yelena Dendibarova in the dark hair.
Angel's powerful. She's got a very fast first 50. She knows she's got to be out if she's got a chance to finish strongly. Dendibarova, I'd say, has the advantage here, as she is a distance swimmer, but Angel's got much more speed. She's picking up her turnover, her kick. She's even with her now, and it's just the last 25 race to the finish.
Angel Meyers going by the Soviet at this point. It's the American A team.
And Angel has gone past her, and she has an outstanding leg going. She is so excited.
Angel Meyers coming to her 4th gold medal in these Goodwill Games in 1986 in Moscow. The American A team winning the gold medal. Their team members, Lori McLean, Kathy Smith, Kelly Davies, and Angel Meyers. A remarkable performance, a 4:12.54 unofficial time.
An outstanding split for Angel Meyers. She just came home like you wouldn't believe.
A remarkable performance by 4 of America's best up-and-coming swimmers. We'll be back with more in just a minute.
what do you think of the level of performances at these Goodwill games?
Well, it's still early in the Goodwill games, but we're certainly, so some sports haven't started yet, but we're certainly doing real well in swimming.
Yeah, we sure are. Do you think that these goals are accomplishing their goals apiece?
Well, it's, early to tell, too, but the athletes that I've talked to are certainly have a warm feeling towards all the competitors.
How about any award ceremonies?
Well, I've been to quite a few of them, and I really do enjoy them. They're real heartwarming.
That's very good. Well, back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Nancy. We've been looking for Ted Turner, wondering which venue he would show up at next. And Ted has obviously heard about the U.S. swimming. He's always where the action is, and there was certainly some tremendous action right there. As you know, the U.S. A team won that 4x100 individual medley relay. Let's have a look at the results. There they are. That's the U.S. A team. Lori McLean, Kathy Smith, Kelly Davies, and Angel Meyers. A time of 4:12.54, followed by the Soviet Union A team and the United States B team in the 4x100 individual medley relay, finished with a bronze medal. So once again, the U.S. swimmers are surprising, and make that with a capital S. We'll be right back.
Broadcast Center. The Goodwill games are here, and Bob Neal, you've got a few hours off now. You hit out and hit the road, hit some venues, and be back later tonight with what? We've got a lot coming up.
I'll get in my jogging, my exercise, because, I want to keep the exercise going with all these athletes here. We have tremendous events coming up tonight, as we have this afternoon, of course. First, we're going to be looking for Vladimir Salnikov, who will be in the men's 400 meter, the Soviet swimming star who's been wowing them here in Moscow. And also, American track star Antonio McKay will be running in the men's 400 meter at track and field. So we have that and a whole lot more tonight. Marianne Laughlin will join me, and I'll see you at that time, Nick.
Okay, Bob. Meanwhile, let's go back to volleyball. Leandra Riley, we looked at the United States get beat by North Korea, a mild upset as volleyball is underway, and now it's Japan and Czechoslovakia. Let's join that game in progress.
Welcome to Lennon Central Small Stadium. I'm Leandra Riley along with Michael O'Hara, and we are ready for game number 3 between Japan and Czechoslovakia. In the first two games, it was Japan all the way, winning the first one 15-6 and the second one 15-4. And Czechoslovakia is just trying to save their pride at this point.
It's been kind of a blowout. Basically, the Czechoslovakians are bigger and stronger, but the agility and the gymnastic-type approach to the game that the Japanese have always had has really proven them to be the strongest, which is why they're one of the top 6 teams in the world.
This is the first round of competition in this pool for both of these teams. Now, earlier this day, Peru defeated East Germany 3-0, so Peru seems to be a power in this tournament, and Japan's shaping up to be the same. Japan and the red.
Japan and the United States in their pool would be the strongest, and of course the Soviet Union and Peru would be the strongest in the other pool.
15 points is a game, best of 5 is a match. As we watch Czechoslovakia ready to receive the serve from Japan. Our score is 0-0.
Japanese diving for that ball. Very seldom does it touch the floor on their side.
And their big gun for Czechoslovakia is Laiki Baklevikova. She's also their setter, but she's very powerful at the net. You only score points on the service, which is why our score remains 0-0. Beautiful put down by Matsuzawa.
The Japanese have so much fun out there, and their plays are so clever and so quick that it's hard for the big block to catch up with them.
They are quick.
Oh, right back at you. The Czechoslovakians coming alive.
Baklevikova showing her versatility. Number 11 there in blue. She is the setter, and she's one heck of a blocker, as we just witnessed.
Look at that ball move around. Yeah, again, that attack with a good pass, which is the key to any offense, suddenly have 3 hitters moving that ball around, and they use every inch of the court.
Baklevikova with a well-placed dink, catching Japan's Masuko. You see her getting up off the floor, a little bit out of position, and now it is side out for Czechoslovakia. Still no score.
Keep your eye on Nakata, number 10 for Japan. She's the premier setter for that team, And she's the quarterback, the setter that makes these hitters look good or look terrible. And if they're not nice to her, they don't get the set at all.
Lots of chocolate bars for Nakata, huh?
Right.
And that block failed to work for Czechoslovakia, so it'll be side out in favor of Japan. 0-0 still our score, and this is the best performance we've seen out of the Czechoslovakian team in this match.
They've only scored 6 points and 4 in the first 2 games, so they can use a little finesse here.
And again, no points on the scoreboard. Back doing the service honors is Tatiana Krempaska. Nice fake out, but the spike was too long. That one off the block, so Japan gets a break, and now they will try to score here. Right in the center, well played. Still no score, which brings up an issue in volleyball. They're thinking of changing the scoring, Mike O'Hara, to having points scored on all plays.
It is a more exciting thing if you make a great play to get a point for it. Just as in tennis and most other sports, there's a surplus of side-out mini fields, but that decision won't be reached. They're testing it now, and a decision will be reached probably right after the '88 Olympic Games.
I think the crowd here wishes they were testing it now. It's still 0-0.
The wall, that's the first point of the game. And a nice serve by Sakiko Otoni.
Nice block. Again, Japan gets another point. 2-0.
No deception on that play because the pass wasn't well executed, and therefore the setter only had one place to go. The 2 blockers could come over and pick on that one spiker.
Chico Otani serving. Great hit by Bramova. Number 6.
A lot better pass, so everything worked that time.
You pointed it out, the Czechoslovakians are bigger. They actually are more powerful, too, but the speed's making a difference here.
That time the quick play by the Czechs. And that's the play that really the Japanese made famous. They were shorter, so they had to be quicker. They had to try harder, and they've come up with a great offense.
A lot of fakes, very complicated offense run by the Japanese, but Czechoslovakia didn't fall for it, and they tied things up. It is now 2-2.
Turner Network Television Goodwill Games coverage continues after this short break.
And 4x100-meter medley relay. The best athlete in each stroke from each country, all put together in one 6-8-length race. Rowdy Gaines, on the basis of the performance we've seen so far with these teams you see on the screen in the water, who stands to do the best?
You have to give the edge to the Soviets. They're going to have good front half races with their guys, their big guns right here. Right now, you see the Soviets right ahead already. They're going to have a good breaststroke. We're going to have a good back half with the butterfly and the freestyle.
The top 200 backstrokers in these Goodwill games, Sergei Zabolotnov and Igor Polyansky, both leading off the Soviet A and B relay team. The Americans, A's and B relay breaststrokers, have just entered the water. So now the Soviets, A and B's, following the swimming of Eduard Klementiev and Dmitry Volkov, are leading. The Soviet crowd expecting a gold and silver medal treat with 2 relays to better the Americans' best.
This is a key leg right here for the Americans. They've got to hang with the Russians right here if they're going to have a chance the last 2 halves of the race, the last 2 strokes.
The Soviet backstrokers and breaststrokers beat the Americans in these Goodwill games. The American butterflyers and freestylers, actually only the butterflyers, beat the Soviets. The Soviets won the freestyle as well. Puts a whole lot of pressure on this American A squad. Now in the water for the United States, Mark Vandemey and George Cook, the 2 big breaststroke guns, now in 4th and 5th place.
This is a surprise. They need to move up a little bit this last 25 if they're going to have a chance in the race. There's a lot of pressure on the 3rd leg right here. Chris O'Neill on the A relay and Kent Flaherty on the B.
So the Soviets entering the water now with what appears to be a full 3 seconds advantage. Soviets A and B relays looking very strong behind the butterfly stroke of Sergei Garov She is the national champion and European record holder. And Konstantin Petrov from the Soviet Union. The American squad now fighting neck and neck with the Soviet C team.
This is tough for the Americans because they're so far behind right now. They're eating all those waves that the Soviets are putting behind them.
So the turbulence encountered by Chris O'Neill in the butterfly and by Ken Flaherty for the United States, making it very difficult for them to catch up the Soviets. You see him, Garot, leading for the Soviet A squad, the Soviet B team.
He's breathing every stroke, but it doesn't seem to hurt his speed right now. He's got good hip movement. He's using those legs. There's the American right there.
Anchoring the Soviet A team, Nikolai Evseev. He won the 100 meters freestyle here in this fourth day of Goodwill Games swimming competition. So the Soviets A and B enter the water well ahead. The B team, Sergei Smitty again. The American A team, Paul Robinson and Dave Kerska for their B squad, trying to get back into the thick of things.
It's going to be real tough now. This race is over, I'd have to say, because the Soviets they won the 100 freestyle. It's going to be tough.
Now you see there on the screen on the far left, that was the Soviet C team, making it possible for the Soviets to not only get the gold and silver, but possibly the bronze as well. Swimming freestyle for the Soviet A squad, Nikolai Evseev, and there on the top of the screen, Sergei Smitty again. That's the gold and silver medals in the 100-meter freestyle earlier. They are owning this race. The Soviets already applauding for their team. The Soviet Union, the host country for these inaugural Goodwill Games, is going to win gold medal and silver medal. The United States, USA A team coming in third. Paul Robinson anchored that in for the bronze. You see there, very happy, Nikolai Evseev, a handsome young swimmer for the Soviet Union. An outstanding performance, and the Soviet crowd is on their feet. They are cheering for this remarkable performance by not one but two Soviet relay teams. We'll be back right after this.
The TBS Sports Broadcast Center here in Moscow. Swimming, surprising and exhilarating. The swimming got us going last Friday. In fact, this is the fourth and final night of the action. And the surprise and exhilaration came on the part of the Americans, specifically Angel Meyers. She's already captured 3 individual gold medals and is part of a 4th gold medal team effort. So the Americans have been a surprise against the formidable Soviets. Still to come, though, the climactic finish to the swimming, the brilliant Vladimir Salnikov of the Soviet Union, who's already shattered his own world record here at the Goodwill Games and also won a 2nd gold medal, will try again for a triple in the 400-meter freestyle. We'll be back to talk about volleyball and take you back as Japan plays Czechoslovakia, Women's Volleyball Open. That and more coming up next. Stay with us.
Game number 3 between Japan and Czechoslovakia continues. I'm Leander Roddy along with Mike O'Hara at Lennon Central Stadium's small arena. Japan with the service and the lead. They're up 7 points to 2 in this 3rd game in this best-of-5 match. Japan won the first 2 games. If they win this game, the match is theirs. Side out in favor of Czechoslovakia.
The Japanese are passing so well that the attack is working. Everything is working, except that right there. They've been running that middle attack awfully effectively, but they've miscued. And let's see what that does to the Czechs. They're looking for a chance to make that momentum change because so far it's all been Japanese.
And that worked for them. Our score is now 7-3, Japan with the lead.
The later in the game, the more effective those dinks are because everybody's a little tired. They dig in, and that little dink comes right in front of them, just over the block.
Push comes to shove.
Again, the Czechs bigger and stronger. That time it was Eva Servakova, who hasn't played much this match. She's in there fresh. Let's see what she can do. Mistake.
Now, a block is not considered a hit, which is why she is able to hit that ball twice in succession.
Mistake by the Japanese spiker. This time the block prevails, and the Czechs, being bigger and stronger, are winning those tug-of-wars at the net.
As you look at Tatiana Krampaska. Back with the service is Eva Dvorakova. And you're right, Dvorakova is fresh, and that's making a difference.
winning that one at the net again. And they're getting them into a little trouble on the pass. The pass isn't quite so perfectly executed.
And suddenly our score is 5-7. Czechoslovakia making a game of this one, side out in favor of Japan. And that was out. It is now 8-5.
That was our fresh player, Varakova, who couldn't dig the ball properly.
There's a free one. Caught Japan off guard, but they're making something out of it.
Oh, nice pound. That's Marcela Ramova, and she was ready for that quick set.
So deep for the service. And no one's there, like a big donut. It fell in the hole.
Yeah, that's frustrating. They had control of that ball off the block, and no one was covering.
8-5, as you look at Japan's Kazumi Umitsu.
Great dig. Ho-hum. The good wall goes up, though, and the Czechs, again, prevailing whenever they win. It's because they're blocking better.
They're not winning on speed. They're certainly getting their points right from blocking and power.
Bad pass.
Something we don't see that often.
Mistake. The block came over the net and tripped the net. Too bad. Nice serve.
I think Czechoslovakia could have done well on it.
Quick set. Number 10 pounds it down. Miroslava Barokova. In trouble. Oh, again
the
dink.
donut hole.
Someone's got to cover that dink. That's very basic. And the Japanese will keep doing it until someone starts to cover.
8-5. Japan with the lead.
Ooh.
15 points this game.
Deception worked that time. That was Eva, our substitute, coming in, really playing well.
Vestalova maybe should be a starter. She's showing a lot of leadership out there.
Otani, a very consistent spiker, and she gets rewarded by being able to go back and serve.
Japan covers the center of their court so well.
Oh, fabulous dig. They do it so effortlessly. I mean, the Czechs go up there and pound, as you can see, and back she comes, digs the ball, ho-hum, and down it goes.
From behind, now they're covering. That's a little bit better offense by Czechoslovakia, but a net violation is called, and Japan gets another point. And it is now 10-5. 15 points this game, and this could be the final game of the match if Japan wins it.
Let's move ahead to later in the game, and Japan is still dominating.
Our score is 13-8 in favor of Japan. Japan won the first two games, 15-6, 15-4. As I said, they lead 13-8 in this third and possibly final game. Czechoslovakia with the service, and you are looking at Laiki Baklavokova, and she is the setter for Czechoslovakia.
Off the block and out of bounds. Referee gives that to him. They were, Japanese were saying they didn't touch. That was number 13, Tatiana Krimpovska. Bad pass. Czechs in control. And down it goes. That's Miroslava Barokova, and that's her 7th put-away in this third game. So offensively, she's carrying the ball for the team. And they are hanging in. They've come back a long way to 10-13. Up There goes a mistake.
Too soon.
Kiss of death. Nothing hurts more than to have a drive going and someone miss a serve.
Kumi Nakata with the service for Japan. She is their setter now in the back row.
Thrown ball, says the referee.
A carried ball by Czechoslovakia. That could be a morale breaker. It is now 14-10, and this could end the match. This is game and match point.
That bad pass is a killer. Great dig. All over.
This might be it. It ends on a dink. That's how they scored most of their points. Japan defeating Czechoslovakia 3-0. Final score in this game, 15-10. And it is 15-4 in the second game, 15-6 in the first, as we take another look at the final point.
Pretty set, and instead of hitting the ball hard, she just dinks it right over that front blocker. Nobody home. Game's over, and a nice match for the Japanese. They demonstrate that gymnastic ability that's made them famous around the world in volleyball.
Moscow and TBS Sports' coverage of the Goodwill Games. Women's volleyball underway. The North Koreans spotted the U.S. the first game, then roared back, won the next three and the match. U.S. was just out-hustled. They've got a lot of repairing to do, and they've just got to get it into gear. This is a very young club. They are not out of the medal running by a long shot. This is a round-robin first round. But anyway, the U.S. in a surprise, losing to North Korea. Earlier, also, Japan beat Czechoslovakia. Just some of the volleyball to come. There's a lot more in the coming days. Up next, though, track and field. The best-known names in the men's 5,000-meter run are American Doug Padilla and Wodajo Bulti of Ethiopia. But the Soviets have several runners of unknown quality entered. To add to the intrigue, the race has just started, so let's go to Charlie Neal.
Men's 5,000-meter right now. Here at Lennon Central Stadium, Bill Rogers is with me. Doug Padilla is one of the men in the field. And when you talk about Doug Padilla, you're talking about a great 5,000-meter runner.
Charlie, Doug was ranked second in the world last year by Track and Field News. He was the Grand Prix 5,000-meter champion. He has not kind of shown the same kind of excellence this year, and that's very normal. When you're one of the best in the world, it's normal to have a little bit of an off year. However, Doug has great talent, which he's proven, and I think he's going to come on strong this year. I think he'll be in the top 5 in this race. What's important, though, is that there's another American in the race who's really come almost out of nowhere. He's run a very fast 3,000 on the track in Europe this week. His name is Terrence Brahm. He's from Indiana, and I think he's going to play a role in this race today. There's also several top Soviets in the field, and an Ethiopian is the fastest man in the field, Wodajo Bulti. He's the World Cup 10,000-meter champion last year.
Craig Masbach is also with us, and when you talk about this 5,000-meter, how about technique, Craig Masbach?
I can't hear a word.
Craig's having a little problems with his mic right now. Bill, how about technique? You can talk about it. You've been a distance runner.
Well, Charlie, the 5,000-meter is a race that requires a kick. If you don't have a kick, a strong finish in this race, you better not be in the 5,000-meter. It's not too different from the mile in that regard. So what we're looking for is not only to maintain contact with the leaders, you're looking at the top probably 6 or 8 men in the field. And you don't necessarily have to be leading this race to win, but you've got to be within striking distance, as the saying goes. Lasse Viren, perhaps, is the greatest exponent of that. He would hang back in about 6th or 8th place for the first 3 or 4 laps, and then he'd slowly move up. And you'll watch these runners do that today. So it's good to be back in around 4th or 5th position, which is really where Terrence Brahm is now. He's in 4th place, running very relaxed, looking very comfortable.
Right now in first place is Bulti from Ethiopia. Well, Casey, also from Ethiopia, is in 2nd place. And now moving up to 3rd place.
There are more than 7 laps in this race. They go 7 laps and then a final kick to the finish. And that, as I said, is going to be significant. This race is all going to boil down, I think, to the last lap or so. Though it's stringing out early. They've gone just over a half mile, and the race is stringing out already. It's strange, very strange, Charlie. What I've noticed, this is a big field. This is like an Olympic heat. There are about 20 men here. It's almost like a cross-country race.
23 to be exact, and we'll be back with more of the men's 5,000 meter in just a moment.
Stay with us from Moscow.
5,000 meters. World record, 13 minutes, 40 seconds. 40 seconds, that's the world record held by Saeed Ouida of Morocco. Set that back in July 1985. Our American top hope is in the race right now, Doug Padilla, who's ranked #2 in the world last year, but he's not doing too well right now.
Charlie, he's not in striking distance, I don't think. He's a fast finisher, but he's got about 8 guys ahead of him. I think Terrence Brahm's in better position. He's in about 4th position. However, he is on the inside of the track, and he looks like he's a bit boxed. There's not too much time left in this race, so he can't allow this to happen to him. There he is. He's pulling out now to the outside, and that's a good move. He wants to stay in position to move with just a lap or 2 to go, because this race is going to really pick up at that stage.
David Cho from Kenya is out in front, while a young man by the name of Kerwe Umbesla from Tunisia is in 2nd place right now in the all-yellow uniform. He's moved up to 2nd place. Now there's a move on the outside, and we'll try to pick up exactly who that is. I believe that is a Soviet runner.
There are 3 Soviets in the race, 2 Americans, 2 men from the GDR, 3 Ethiopians.
Dasko, Dmitriev, and Tashenko, all from the Soviet Union, all bunched right there together.
Yeah, I think this is going to, as I said, this is a kicker's race. And here's Bolte from Ethiopia moving back up towards the front. He's got a good kick.
And we'll be back for the kick
and he's maintaining
and the finish
himself
of the men's 5,000 meter. In just a moment, stay with us.
Thank you, Charlie Neal. A name you heard through the intermediate stages of the 5,000 meter is Doug Padilla. You should be hearing him at the end. A graduate of Brigham Young University, Doug is a Mormon who runs 40 to 60 miles every week. As an undergraduate, he served his required 2-year missionary stint in El Salvador. Since then, he has devoted his time to training and competing. In the 5,000 meter, Doug took 1st place honors at the 1985 U.S. Nationals and World Cup events. Here's our Goodwill profile.
I guess you don't really know when you've hit your peak until you're on your way down the other side. So I'm a person that's taken a long time to grow up. I've always been maybe 4 or 5 years behind myself physically. And being 29, that says I'm approaching my peak, but then I think physically I'm a few years behind that. I think I have a few years left to go before we do top out. I'm not a person that actually sits down and says, okay, I want to do this year and I want to do that next year or whatever. I kind of take a season at a time. We kind of look at the schedule and set it up so that we have the right number of races with the proper rest between them. And that kind of determines how the season goes. You know, you may want to run in 2 places, but they may be too close together or something like that. So I kind of look at it that way, and then I just set the goal. I'd like to run well throughout the season. I'd like to be competitive and be strong and be able to last all the way through the end. I recognize that the relationship with my wife is something that is very important to me. She's my best friend. She's a person I enjoy doing things with, enjoy spending time with. And so it's fun for me to have her give me the support that she does in competition, you know, and that. She travels quite a bit at the time with me, and that helps me. I think I race better when I have my family there. Though, you know, as you get more kids, it makes it more difficult. One's a challenge. We're expecting another in September, and so that's going to make it even more difficult, so I'm sure I'll probably be on my own more. I think a strong religion is something that helps to give you direction. You know, it helps you to know what it is you want in life, what's important, what things aren't important. And I don't know, that's helped me to feel comfortable with the way I'm doing, with the goals that I have. The church, you know, puts a strong emphasis on family, and I can see why, because that's the basis for your family, and that's the basis for your relationships, and helps you to feel good about yourself when you have a good relationship with your wife and your children. And I don't know, my religion is just, I don't know, it's hard to put down in a simple sentence. it really is everything. It sets a direction for all aspects of my life.
Doug has also shown that he has good speed. After winning a slow but tactical 5,000 meter at the USSR Japan triangular meet in Tokyo last September, he was asked if he could run the 800 meter the next day. He did, finishing a respectable 4th. Now the finish of one of the premier long-distance races in track and field, the men's 5,000 meter, and for the call, let's go back to Charlie Neal.
Charlie Neal. Charlie Neal along with Bill Rogers back with you here with the men's 5,000 meter. And out in front,
Dmitriev of the Soviet Union, Charlie, is the guy who's taking control. They are lapping runners now. It's just like the Olympics. People are being passed. However, David Choge of Kenya keeps trying to maintain the lead here. So we've got a race that's really changing hands. The Americans have never led. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to win, because Brahm is still in striking position. He's in about 4th or 5th.
10:43.63 is the time that you see on the screen right now. The world record, 13 minutes flat. Saida Uda of the Morocco set that back in July of 1985. Padilla is starting to make his move. Padilla from the United States is starting to make his move on the outside. Padilla is now in 3rd place. Doug Padilla, ranked number 2 in the world, 1985, 29 years of age, World Cup winner, beating Bolte and Heine in a slow race.
Terence Brahm is right with Padilla in 4th, so the Americans are well positioned. Soviet runners in 1-2. Mikhail Dasko is in the lead with Dmitry Dmitriev
in 2nd place. But Padilla is hanging in there.
Here comes Bolte of Ethiopia, the fastest man in the field on paper.
And
he's got the fastest time.
He is now moving into 2nd place. Bolte from Ethiopia. 1st at the World Cup in the 10,000 meter, 3rd in the 5,000.
Americans are well positioned in 4th and 5th. Doug Padilla and Terence Brahm.
Again, the Soviet, Dasko, is still out in front, followed by Bolte from Ethiopia, who's now in 2nd place, and Bolte now trying to move up. Again, a Soviet is in 3rd place, and that's Dmitriev.
Dmitriev and Dasko from the Soviet Union, with Bolte of Ethiopia sandwiched between them. Right behind them, Doug Padilla.
Padilla had hung back throughout most of this race and then started to make his move with a little bit better than 2 laps to go right now. This is the men's 5,000 meter.
And Charlie, they cannot forget Terence Brahm, because he's particularly known for having a good kick. And here he is. He's moving to the lead now. Here comes Brahm.
Brahm
They've
and
got
Padilla.
a lap to go. 2
And
Americans
1 lap
in the lead,
is
a
left.
Soviet behind them.
And we're going to have one whale of a finish of the men's 5,000 meter.
There are 6 men in contention. 2
Brahm
Soviets.
is number 1. Padilla is now moving out in front. He has just taken the lead away from his countryman Brahm. As you look at the United States,
it could be a 1-2 finish, Charlie.
The men's 5,000 meter. Brahm, number 386 on the right. Padilla, number 340 on the left.
Only 1 Soviet is in contention. It looks like he's going to take 3rd, and the Americans will take 1-2.
And it's a race between the United States, Padilla and Brahm.
They're coming off the corner.
Padilla on the outside, on the corner. There's
Padilla's
the time.
got it.
Padilla sprinting in the kick.
Brahm trying to hold off the
trying
Soviet.
to hold on for 2nd. The Soviet is trying to pass him. It's going to be a close race for 2nd.
Padilla
and
wins.
Brahm will take 2nd place in the men's 5,000 meter. Terry Brahm, 2nd in the 5,000 meter. Padilla finished 1st. And it was Evgeny Ignatov of Bulgaria, looks like, finished 3rd. Or was it the Soviet who finished 3rd?
Well, here's a replay, Charlie.
The last quarter was about a 54.
That's really opening up. That's that kick I was talking about. Here's Padilla finishing strong. Brahm trying to hold off the Soviet runner, Dmitry Dmitriev. I believe that's Dmitriev in 3rd. Whoever he is, he made it a tough race.
I believe that was Evgeny Ignatov of Bulgaria.
Was he a Bulgarian runner?
Who finished 3rd. Right. But what a finish by the Americans, especially that strong kick by the young man we affectionately call Doug Padilla.
Yeah, I guess I called him wrong from the beginning, Charlie. He proved that he's determined to come back to be on top again this year.
So what a finish for Doug Padilla. With less than a lap left, he made his move past fellow American Terry Brom and then held him off to win. Doug Padilla, age 29, still had what it takes. He's enthusiastic about training and trained at altitude and never considered quitting. So at 29, he's more than competitive. He's the winner of the gold medal in the 5,000-meter race in the inaugural Goodwill Games. We'll be back to talk to you and show you Modern Pentathlon next. Stay with us. Soviet Union and TBS Sports' coverage of the Goodwill Games. Modern Pentathlon, a tough training regime, 5 demanding events. We've seen riding and fencing so far. Today, swimming, 300 meters, and for that, let's go to Craig Sager.
The Modern Pentathlon for both men and women has moved to the swimming pool at the Olympic Complex for the third of 5 events, the swim. In this all-around sporting contest, we have seen our athletes duel against each other in the fence and maneuver through an unfamiliar course aboard an unfamiliar horse. It's now time to test the elements of nature. A 300-meter swim for the men, 200 meters for the women, the top 8 leaders after the first 2 events meeting in the final heats. And Bob, how do you assess the men's race?
Well, Craig, although there are 6 Soviet athletes in that final heat, I think it's going to be a shootout between Igor Schwartz and Vakhtang Yegorashvili of the Soviet Union. Now, Schwartz already has a position on their national team, but Yegorashvili would like nothing better than to take his spot.
The women's race should be a very exciting one with Allison Reed of the United States among the leaders.
Well, this is the best event for Allison Reed, and she's done well for the first 2 days, but she needs to have a good swim here if she's going to end up in a good position.
In one of the early men's heats, John Scott of the United States turned in a time of 3 minutes, 13.06 seconds. He easily won his heat, and his time, the fastest so far, is the one to beat. At the top of your screen in lane number 1 will be Nander Baird of Hungary. Alexander Makiev of the Soviet Union will be in lane 2, followed by Yuri Yumileov. Igor Schwartz, the leader, is in lane 4. German Yuferev is in lane 5. Vakhtang Yegorashvili in lane 6. Alexander Padubny from the Soviet Union in lane 7. And Gabor Payor of Hungary in lane 8. So remember, 2 Hungarians at the top and the bottom of your screen. 6 Soviets in the middle. The leader after 2 events is Igor Schwartz, and he is swimming in lane 4.
Well, we're going to see a 3-man race. The men in the 3 middle lanes will all be very close together throughout the race. But what we're really looking for is a race between Igor Schwartz in lane 4 and Vakhtang Yegorashvili in lane 6. Those 2 men will be battling it out at the end of this competition in the shooting event and the running event yet to come.
Yegorashvili has taken the lead. He is in lane 6. Next to him is German Yuferev above him, and Igor Schwartz, the leader after the 2 events, is now running 3rd. But the leader really moving out is Vakhtang Yegorashvili. He looks very good. Looks like he's a great swimmer.
Well, there's different ways to swim this race. It's 300 meters long, and you can either attack it and go out very fast at the start, or you can try and even split it. Obviously, Yegorashvili is going after it.
What was your strategy when you set the world record for the pentathlon with a time of 3:13 back in 1976?
Well, I would always try and even split it, but sometimes you can't get a great effort out of an even split. You're locking yourself in on just a set time.
How is this time for the 100-meter split right now?
Very fast. He's out with a good split. He's under world record pace, as a matter of fact. And he obviously is putting it to Schwartz. He wants to take him out and establish that lead. Make Schwartz try to catch him.
Vakhtang Yegorashvili. He is 22 years old, 6'2", 160 pounds, rather 176 pounds.
Now, we mentioned that they're racing each other, but they're really racing against the clock. In pentathlon, they have a standard of 3 minutes, 54 seconds for 1,000 points. And the swimmers are awarded 8 points for every second over, or 8 points deducted for every second under, or the reverse of that. But in any case, bonus points are awarded 8 points for every second under 354, and that's 1,000 points. So they're going to try and rack up as many points as they can in this event.
In other words, this event is weighted. You can get 1,300 points in an event like this, whereas in the ride, the top score you can get is 1,100.
That's exactly right. Same holds true for the run as well.
So Vakhtang Yegorashvili continues his pace. He started this event tied for 3rd, but if he can hold on, he can really build up the points to take the lead.
He's got a great swim going. I Actually, Schwartz is not being able to stay with him, and Yagaravili is going to have a good lead going out of this event.
How is the time of 2 minutes, 6.65 seconds after 200 meters?
He's got a shot at the world record. However, he would have to get back in about a 1:03, and that's going to be tough to do. I know these guys are tired. They had to fence 10 hours yesterday, and I've been there. I'll tell you, their arms are aching. Their body's almost numb by now.
Nobody is pushing him. He's swimming by himself. Is that an advantage or disadvantage?
They're used to that because of the nature of pentathlon. He's just going to focus. He's going to come out of this last turn and focus for that final wall and give it everything he's got.
Well, Vakhtang Yagarashvili, obviously the leader, but remember, it's not only a battle for second, but a battle against the clock. German Yuferov from the Soviet Union is now second, followed by Igor Schwartz. Igor Schwartz, who is running third, is the leader after 2 events, but Yagarashvili, with this big lead, will probably overtake him. An excellent time of watching as he heads for home. Remember, the time to beat for the world record is 3:10.6. And Yagarashvili with 3:12.97. That is going to be the best time of the day. He is going to win the swimming event. In lane 4, coming in for second place is Igor Schwartz, finishing in third, German Yuferov. Vakhtang Yagarashvili with a time of 3:12.97, winning the swimming event of the modern pentathlon. John Scott of the United States was second, and Christopher Roux of France was third. Look at the standings after 3 events. A tie for first with 3,304 points. Vakhtang Yagarashvili and Igor Schwartz.
The 8 leaders in the women's pentathlon are ready for the final heat. In lane 1, it's Caroline Delamer of France. In lane 2, Magdalena Jedluski of Poland. Her teammate Anna Bayan is in lane 3. From France, Sophie Morrissey, the overall leader, is in lane 4. Titania Cherniavskaya of the Soviet Union is in lane 5. The USA's Allison Reed, 4th overall, is in lane 6. Katrine Kroning of West Germany, lane 7. Cornelie Nielsen of Denmark, lane 8.
This is the women's final race of the afternoon. This, of course, has their 8 leaders after 2 events. And Bob, what's the strategy here?
Well, it's a 200-meter freestyle, Craig, and the women have different strategies. They'll either take it out fast or else they'll try to even split it. Now, we have 2 races here today. We have a race between Anna Bayan and Sophie Morrissey in lanes 3 and 4. But the big race is between Tatiana Cherniavskaya of the Soviet Union in lane 5 and Allison Reed of the USA.
Titania Cherniavskaya of the Soviet Union is the leader, out very quickly. She's the one swimming without the bathing cap. Right next to her is Allison Reed of the United States. But that's Cherniavskaya heading into the first turn. She has the lead. Allison Reed very close.
Well, Cherniavskaya is a slightly better swimmer, but I'm hoping Allison Reed can hang on to her long enough to go a good time here. They're actually just swimming against the clock, even though they're racing each other somewhat. But the key is to earn as many pentathlon points as you can. Now, a 2:40 earns you 1,000 pentathlon points, 2 minutes 40 seconds, and for every 8, you get 8 points for every second over or under that time. And so they're bonus points in this event.
Tatiana Cherniavskaya has the lead of 1 length lead right now over Caroline Delamer in lane 1, Allison Reed in lane 5. But they are now going to the halfway mark, heading into the 100-meter turn. And Tatiana Cherniavskaya appears to be a very strong swimmer. She was second overall going into this event. And, Bob, she's really moving out.
And that's a fast split at the 100, 106. And it's a good split for Allison Reed as well. She's on her way to a good time. Now, perhaps Tatiana may start dying here, and Allison may start catching her. That's probably her strategy in this race.
Is there a certain point where the fatigue factor really sets in, where you have to get your second strength or second wind?
Well, these girls are certainly tired because that's the nature of pentathlon, but they're not as tired as the men are going to be. Now, these women fenced the first day, and that's what tires you out for this event. So they've had a day of rest before they've had to swim.
So far, very good run for Tatiana Cherniavskaya. She makes the turn and heads for home in the final lap.
But you know these girls are tired. They're coming out of, Allison Reed's coming out of the turn now, and her arms have to be aching. Not much energy left.
Final length of the pool. Tatiana Cherniavskaya of the Soviet Union is holding on to the lead, but Allison Reed is coming on very quickly. Remember, it doesn't matter if she's come in second, but how fast you can swim, because there's so many points for each second, 8 points.
And you have to keep your concentration all the way to the finish just for that reason.
Tatiana Cherniavskaya has the lead, but Reed from the United States is going to come in second. Cherniavskaya touches the wall first with an excellent time of 2:19.97. Allison Reed is second. Caroline Delamer in lane number 1 is third. And Anna Bayan is fourth from Poland. Despite the good times among the leaders, the fastest times of the swimming event were by Andrea Tulak of Hungary, Tanya Meyer of West Germany, Alice Striganova of the Soviet Union, and Kim Dunlap of the United States. After 3 events for the women's pentathlon, here are the standings. Titania Chernievskaya of the Soviet Union is the leader, followed by Sophie Morrissey, Anna Bayan, Allison Reed of the United States is fourth, and Kim Dunlap of the USA is sixth.
So modern pentathlon, very competitive. 3 of the 5 events completed. They've had riding, fencing, now swimming. But there's more ahead in the coming days, shooting, and the finale, cross-country running. And we'll be back with more as TBS Sports' coverage of the Goodwill Games continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to Moscow. Nick Charles here at the Broadcast Center, and the Goodwill Games primetime coverage continues later tonight. Marianne Laughlin and Bob Neal. A reminder, person to watch, Jackie Joyner. She won the silver medal in the 1984 Olympics in the heptathlon. She is on world record pace after 4 of the 7 events completed yesterday, so 3 more to go today. And can she push herself past the 7,000 point barrier and break the world record? We'll see later on prime time. U.S. boxing team has arrived in Moscow, and our Paul Horning is out at the airport to meet him. The U.S. boxing situation, of course, steeped in controversy. If you didn't hear, 9 boxers from the team are unable to compete because of a U.S. Department of Defense ban, so we will have more on that situation. But right now, more from track and field in the men's 200 meters, and we'll go to Charlie Neal now.
As you look at the lineup, lane number 1, Razganov of the Soviet Union. And lane number 3, Dwayne Evans from the United States. Lane number 4, Andre Floyd. Make that Fyodor of the Soviet Union, Floyd Hurd. Lane number 5, Krylov. And lane number 6 from the Soviet Union, and Spearman from the United States. Lane number 7.
Quick start.
And it is a quick start.
Hurd is really, look at Hurd running this curve. He's really motoring it. Look at Dwayne Evans.
Dwayne Evans with the headband on, coming around in lane number 2. Lane number 5 is Hurd, and Hurd is out in front, being challenged by Evans. And this will be Hurd and Evans.
Hurd
and Evans, and a very close third between Spearman
the winner of the heat is
and Krylov.
I think it's a 1-2-3 sweep, like I said. I think so.
20:15 unofficial time in the men's 200 meter.
That's not a bad time. 1-2-3. Floyd Hurd, Dwayne Evans, and Wallace Spearman. 1-2-3. Here they're coming out of the current. Look how Floyd Hurd is really pumping. That's the mark of a great sprinter. He's going to be a great sprinter. He's really quiet, but he does his running and talking on the track. Dwayne Evans is coming. Dwayne is having some problems here. You're getting tired, but look, coming in lane number 7 is Wallace Spearman. Here he comes. 1-2-3. American sweep. Great race.
And that was Fyodor from the Soviet Union, who Spearman just nipped at the finish. 2015 unofficial. 1972 is the world record. In 1980, 1984, Carl Lewis ran a 1980, which earned him a gold at the Olympics.
The first heat, of course, was won in 20.15. No, the second heat, I'm sorry. The second heat was won by Floyd Hurd in 20.15. So it's a great race. The first heat was 20.77.
And let's go down to Craig Maspak with our winner, Floyd Hurd, right now.
Thanks, Charlie. I'm here with Floyd Hurd. And Floyd, you're the young guy, but you're telling the old guys, watch out, I'm ready to run.
Yeah. You know, coming out of high school, just first year in college, winning NCs and tag, I guess they should know about itself.
Well, you beat Carl Lewis at TAC. You won the Goodwill Games. What are you going to do next?
I'm going to circuit on a tour. I got Sports Festival back in Houston. After that, come back over for a little more tour.
Pretty good for a freshman. Let's see what he does for an encore. Congratulations.
Германская Демократическая Республика, 6 метров 76 сантиметров.
You can have no idea why Floyd Hurd could have been out of breath. A clean sweep for the U.S. in the men's 200. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the Goodwill Games in Moscow. Coming up later, men's World Basketball Championships from Spain. That'll be on our primetime version. One key game, the Soviet Union against Israel. And a chance to see the Soviet centerpiece, Arvydas Sabonis, drafted in the first round last month by the Portland Trail Blazers. But look out, Dale Brown of LSU is hot on his trail here in Moscow. And TBS's Paul Ryden was hot on Coach Brown's trail also.
There's an old saying, the impossible is what nobody can do until somebody does it, and that's what I believe.
And what Dale Brown believes is that by personal international diplomacy, he can convince the best basketball player in the Soviet Union, some say the world, that next season he ought to be wearing the purple and gold of LSU. It's simple.
Number one, he has 1 year of eligibility left. He can go on to Seoul, Korea. Then the Russians have the opportunity to see if they want him to go into the NBA. He's been a first-round NBA draft choice. It's the first time in history. Everybody says it can't be done. I believe it can. It's tremendous positive thinking, maybe, but it also shows that this young man can serve a purpose, and what we can do to let people know that we can live in peace and we can live together.
But can Sabonis live in Louisiana? Well, if Brown's quest is successful, it'll match his Cinderella story in the NCAAs when he beat 3 biggies against all odds. Now he faces the critics again.
I know the scoffers are going to say in America, get off the air. He's got a 7'3" guy. It's the only reason he's here. And I say to them, drop dead. That's not the only reason I'm here. If it was just a basketball player, and let's face it, he's one of the greatest, I wouldn't spend this much effort.
What's in it for the Soviets?
I think, one, it gives them tremendous publicity, great pride. It prepares Sabonis for the Olympics, which obviously want to win a gold medal. And I think what's in it for them, I really think that Mr. Gorbachev is sincere in what he said in his message in January. It's a year of peace. Here's an opportunity to prove it. Look at this pretty girl. Pretty girl. I have a girlfriend now, right? I have a girlfriend. Thank you. Hey, ping pong diplomacy, little old game of ping pong between China and the United States worked. The same thing, we were dropping bombs on Japan in World War II, and we had to. It was a necessity to save American lives. And yet, do you drive a Japanese car? My camera is Japanese. The cameraman here figured it out for me today. How come we can become enemies one year and friends the other? I think it's absolutely ludicrous, and I do think people can change things. I believe Sabonis can be the Jackie Robinson for Americans, as we know, was a tremendous diplomat. He can be the international diplomat. I believe you can reach across that ocean and grab hands.
The hand he wants most to grab on this trip is that of Mikhail Gorbachev. And just what would he tell the Soviet leader?
I would, number one, if I had to go through an interpreter, to tell him that I understand him questioning me wanting to bring the best player. But I think if I sat down, and I have a little card with me called Peace on Earth, that we only pass this way one time. Let's do a good job.
As a man who opens himself up to public ridicule and speaks his mind, Dale Brown is ready to tackle this newest frontier. The question is the Soviet Union ready to tackle Dale Brown?
I'm very, very sincere in hoping that I can sit with Mr. Gorbachev and explain my cause. Somebody would immediately laugh and say, that's the silliest thing I ever heard. That's why they're not here. I don't think it's silly.
Can the powerful, positive thinker from Baton Rouge then land the big catch from the USSR? Stay tuned. Coming up later today and tonight, the sports coverage on TBS of the Goodwill Games will continue with Bob Neal and Marianne Laughlin. It's the climax of 4 days of swimming, and Soviet star Vladimir Solnikov will be center stage in our primetime coverage. The U.S. women's basketball team, led by Cheryl Miller, puts its unbeaten record on the line against Czechoslovakia. And we'll get a look at the Soviet men's basketball team and Arvydas Sabonis, being pursued by Dale Brown and drafted by Portland to the NBA. The Soviets will play Israel in another battle of unbeaten teams. Also, the highlight ahead in track and field is American Jackie Joyner on a world record pace trying to win the gold medal in the heptathlon. So there's much more to come. For Bob Neal and Marianne Laughlin, I'm Nick Charles. The Goodwill Games will continue from Moscow.
The 19